But when it comes to your policies, again, our three basic policies is going to be term, which is insurance for a period of time, and ROP, or a return of premium, insurance for a period of time, but you get what you put in back if nothing happens. And then you have a whole life policy, which covers you for your whole life. And there's many different types of things in between the three, many different ways you can structure the three, right? But those are the basics. Peace and blessings. My name is Trinity, and on this channel I'll talk about my journey through African spirituality and self-improvement. In today's video, we're going to talk about life insurance, right? Life insurance basics for Black creatives. It's very important, especially if you're a young person like I am, mid-20s, 30s, to prepare ourselves for the future, right? One of the ways we can do that is life insurance policies, understanding them, getting them early on when our health is probably the best. As I was learning about life insurance and in the process of getting my life insurance license, a story that was very interesting to me and that was very prevalent to my reality as a Black creative is the story of Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jackson, we all know him, one of the greatest musicians, performers, creatives of all time, right? And what I heard about him is that, his legacy, his estate was locked up in probate, was locked up in the government, and that his family didn't have access to the legacy that he created for them, and that process went on for a while. I want to say I believe things have been resolved by now, but a lot of that money, a lot of that legacy was inaccessible to the people who were meant to inherit it. You know what I'm saying? And that was because whoever was advising him didn't have him set up life insurance policies. In that situation, life insurance policies could have took care of any debts that, he may have owed, took care of his funeral costs, and allowed for his estate to be passed down more fluidly to his family. Things that I work hard for, the things that I pour my heart into, especially my art in this life, and whatever comes from that, I want it to be passed down to my family without any resistance or friction, or as least amount as possible, right? When I transition, that's going to be difficult enough for my family to deal with. So I need to have things set up in the proper ways to where there's no stress around it. That's not how I want to go out. But furthermore, life insurance is not about death, right? In the name, we're talking about life insurance, not death insurance, right? It's about the living. And wealthy people living right now use life insurance policies as one of the biggest wealth builders, right? One of the biggest asset protection strategies. So life insurance is important if we seek to, prosper as Black creatives. So let's talk about the basics, right? The basics of insurance. Your most basic and the cheapest option that we have access to is what's called a term life insurance policy. So like it sounds, you have this policy for a period of time or for a term, anywhere from 10 to 30 years, right? So you pay your monthly or your yearly premiums is what they're called, right? Those payments. And for that term, for however many years, and at the end of that term, everything that you paid, if nothing happens to you, is gone. Something does happen to you, you have this thing that can help you take care of, costs for any, of those unexpected events. The next step up is we have something called a return of premium policy. And a return of premium policy is a type of term policy, right? You only have it for a term, but in the title we hear that return of premium. So instead of not being able to get any of your money at the end of the term, you get all of your money back if nothing happens to you. Those two are really good for just adult things, preparing for life before life happens, God forbid any of those things happen, but just having those things in case, because having them versus not having them can really affect your financial future. You know what I'm saying? If you go through an unexpected event where you are, severely injured or God forbid pass away, it's going to put your family in a situation if you don't have anything in place. But if you do, those things can help you get the care that you need or help your family take care of what they need to in any unforeseen circumstances, right? But the next type of policy that we have is a whole life insurance policy, right? And a whole life insurance policy covers you for your whole life, right? This is going to be your most expensive, relatively speaking. So that's why it's important to get into something like this early on, right? And a type of whole life insurance policy that a lot of wealthy people are using is called a index universal life policy, a IUL. And you may have heard of people talking about being your own bank, or this concept of infinite banking, right? And basically what this is a type of policy, type of whole life policy where you put money in, but a portion of what you put in is being invested, and it's building what's called cash value. Your policy itself is building what's called cash value. And after a certain amount of time, if it's set up right, you can utilize that cash value as collateral for you to be able to take out a loan. So you can take out a loan on your own money, and it doesn't come out of your policy. It keeps on growing, but you can take a loan off of that money, invest in something. So instead of you having to go out and get a credit card or going through the process of applying for something with an institution, you can go to your own money, pull out a loan, do what you need to do, and put it back. And in the event that you aren't able to put it back, that money just comes out of your death benefit at the end of your life, right? So it's a very powerful tool. That's your big boy or big girl, policy though. So that's something to, get into in maybe a later stage or when you have the financial capacity to do so. But that's something that I wanted to mention. But when it comes to your policies, again, our three basic policies is going to be term, which is insurance for a period of time, and ROP, or a return of premium, insurance for a period of time, but you get what you put in back if nothing happens. And then you have a whole life policy, which covers you for your whole life. And there's many different types of things in between the three, many different ways you can structure the three, right? But those are the basics. Another thing that you should keep in mind is this thing of living benefits, right? So this thing like cost of healthcare or treatment plans if your health takes a turn, right? You can get living benefits built in, or some policies come with living benefits where you're able to take care of those things. But when it comes to getting any of these products, you have to go through what's called an underwriting process, right? Whatever company or whatever insurance agent that you're working with has to go through an underwriting process with you, right? This is where they're assessing your insurability, right? Your health, what are your habits? Can this company afford to give you insurance? Because how they make their money is obviously you paying premiums, you being able to pay those premiums, right? So they want you to live for as long as possible, but if you an extreme sports player and a chain smoker, then that's a risk for them, right? So it depends on how your health profile, what is your health like, what is your behavior like, which is why I said it's important to get into these things early, where our health is likely the best that it will be. We should be making the choices for our health to be good for the rest of our lives. But, I digress. But when it comes to insurance, those are the things that you want to take a look into. What I would invite you to do is determine if you have any policies now. You may have something with your job. Your parents may have a policy that they have on you. So just start to inquire and see what it is that you have, and determine what type of legacy you want to leave in the future, monetary wise, right? Would you want to leave like $1 million for your family or 100 million, right? So it just depends on where you're at, where your mind is at, and what your goals are in this life and what you seek to leave. But learn about this now. If you're a young person, learn about this now. It's an important topic that, I wasn't even planning on getting into life insurance. It kind of just happened. But when I learned about it, I was like, wow, this is important, right? And I'm glad that, I had the opportunity and have the opportunity to learn about it and, engage with it at the age that I'm at now. But with that said, wishing everybody peace and progress, prosperity. All right, I'll say.